Welcome back to Financial Freedom for the Lazy Person. The question is, are you lazy enough to want to make work optional, like we did? Today, I have, and I'm probably going to butcher your name, like everyone butchers mine, because I actually don't know what my name is, but Sushant,
That is perfect. You did not.
thank you, who started investing after 2008 or around 2008. I believe you don't own any rentals.
I do actually.
Oh, you do
One.
own rentals. Okay, so we can go over that too. I knew you invested in stocks. Uh, But let's cover how you started investing. And then I want to talk about how long it took you to actually walk away from your job.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks for having me, Dion. And hello to your audience. I started investing in around 2008. I started working in 2007, and 2008 is when I started investing. I used to listen to this show at 1 o'clock every afternoon, Dave Ramsey show. Uh, so that's where I used to hear people scream about their debt-free life, cutting the credit cards and all of that. And that intrigued me. I'm like, okay, what is this guy talking about? Mutual funds and ETFs and whatnot. And if I'm earning this, my first job was $60,000. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? Because I felt as a student, I worked $6.50 per hour. $60,000 is a lot. I felt like a king. I'm like, okay, I can spend the way I wanted. Of course, I had $30,000 student loans and all that, but I had no idea how to deal with all that. So that's when I started investing, started learning about investing, and 2008 is the place where it all started.
So let me see if I'm following this right. You started work in 2007
Yes.
and you start in 2008.
Yeah, investing.
Nice. I started work when I was 8 and started investing when I was 40. So you waited 1 year. I think that's a much better plan than the way I looked at it. So in
It worked out well.
2008, how did you start investing? Because you said you made $60,000 a year. That's a lot. You live like a king. I totally get it. When you were making that a comparison to what you were earning before and you have the student debt, uh, when I tell people most of the years of my life, I didn't make more than 60,000 a year. Uh, to me, it's a really small amount because I now know that there's so many people who make 150, $200,000 a year who don't think they could live on 60,000, let alone invest any of that money. How did you start?
So 60,000 it started. I had $30,000 in student loan. So I tried calculating my net worth. It wasn't positive. It wasn't zero. It wasn't negative. And I was at the same time I was getting this investing boosters from Dave Ramsey, like you should do this and that and all those success stories. I'm like, I need to reach there. What do I need to do? First, I need to focus on my student debt. So I went gazelle intense, got it done in 18, 19 months or so because I was putting everything. I was a single guy, not married, no responsibilities, living with uh, um, a roommate. So not much responsibility. So I threw everything I had in student loan, got out of it in 18, 19 months. And after that, around that time, I got married. And then, uh, of course, there are few more steps, but I at that time I started investing maybe I would say 3, 4% of my salary, and that's where it all started. And as I saw the result, I kept increasing. And after we got married, of course, we bought house and all, but we both were frugal. We always lived way below our means. We used to earn decent salary with a married couple. We were like 95, $100,000 in 2009-ish or so, but we bought our first property as a foreclosed property. It was a good property, but we always had this eye for what is real value and what is more flashy and what we want now and what can we get later, because I was always influenced by this line, live like no one else so that you can live like nobody else. And I thought someday something will happen and maybe we will be able to come out of it shining. So yeah, that's where it started.
Okay, so starting then, you get your first place. You said you went from having a roommate because you lived super frugal, and then you and your wife bought a house. The first house was a house, or was it a like a rental house?
So first we were in a one bedroom apartment for first year. Then we saw a foreclosed house. It was a townhouse. It was a 1900 square feet, two-bedroom house. When we bought it, after we bought it, we finished the basement and all. So it was decent house for two of us.
Did you have roommates when it was you and your wife?
No, 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 no. It was just us. Roommate when I was single, so it was two-bedroom apartment. The guy had one bedroom, I had other bedroom. That's what it was. No.
So that's kind of why I wanted to ask the question. This is a weird psychology that I think we have. Most of the people that I have ever met have the same idea. When you were single, you were completely happy to have somebody else help you pay someone else's mortgage. But as soon as you had a mortgage, you said, no, no, don't anybody dare help me pay for my mortgage. No more roommates. This is my house. It's weird.
So yeah, it is more like, sometimes there are financial decisions, sometimes it is about freedom and your privacy. And of course, you are newly married in a house. You don't want anyone else in your house. And uh, we always were a little different, we felt like. So our first house we bought was in cash. We were just 3 years in our jobs. My wife had saved 30, 40,000 grand. After I paid off my student loan, I put in 30, 40,000 more in savings. And we saw this house. This was 176,000 house. It was 3 year old, but the subprime was still kind of playing in the market at that time, and people were not able to pay it, and it was foreclosed and all that. And we got it in like fairly cheap, 90, 91,000 cash. That's what we paid. So yeah, that's the story of the first house.
Okay, so right now there are people who say that you only got the house because of how cheap it was, and they don't realize how many houses cost exactly that amount or less right now today. They're just not in the big cities. They're not on the coasts. They're not where a lot of people want to live, but they're where a lot of people could live.
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll flash forward to when did you retire?
I retired last year, December of 2024. That's when I retired.
Walk me through that. So, like the confidence to go, okay, I'm not going to work anymore. How old were you last year in December?
41.
You were
That was the
41.
age, yes. And I was investing since 2008 through 2024. That's good 16, 17, 18 years. And I have seen the market ups and downs and good market and bad market. I understood what is the average return of the markets, how much I really need in corpus in portfolio. I understood the rule of 72, the compounding, the rule of 4%, how many years I'm retiring early. I understand I'm in my 40s, so I cannot live with the 25 years only. So I need to go a little more than that, 30, 35 years. And when I had that much of portfolio, that was the time. And there were few more points which were not just financial to make this decision, but financially, this is what I was thinking through.
What does the portfolio look like when you retired? So let's go like how much stocks, how much crypto, how much real estate.
Hmm. So let's talk about stocks only. I am, do you want me to tell the number or
Well,
let you
so
know
you said
about
you used the
how the split?
4% rule. What
Mhm,
amount invested gave you the confidence to say I no longer need a salary? Because your salary is what got you there, right?
mhm.
You had to make
100%.
paychecks. You weren't running businesses on the side. You didn't have a big inheritance. You were just working, getting a paycheck, taking money from your paycheck, putting it to work. How much was invested when you said that's enough?
So my total portfolio of stocks is $2 million right now. Out of that, I have like 13% in bonds and 74% in stocks, 11% in alts, and just 1 or 2% cash right now. So that is purely stock portfolio. And then I have rental property. It is around 450. So that's what it is. And again, I live in this house. This is a paid off house as well. As I said, I always believed in debt-free life, and I have lived debt-free. The cars, the houses. Of course, I cannot buy this house in cash, but you start with a mortgage, but you pay it with all your intensity. Be debt-free. Financially, sometimes it doesn't make sense, but it gives me and my wife sound sleep, peace of mind, and sometimes that matters more to me than any monetary thing.
earlier you said sometimes you make decisions, they're financial, and sometimes you make decisions and are based on what's going on in your life. So when you're a newlywed couple, the last thing you want is somebody living in your personal space and you don't have your privacy. I completely understand that. Um, I didn't make a lot of money and I used mortgages on all my rentals in the beginning. Uh, and so I say one of the reasons why I was able to retire early is because of debt. My brother is also retired and he doesn't own any stocks or any crypto. He just has paid off rentals. He's the same. If he had a mortgage, he would lose sleep. He doesn't understand how
Yeah,
anybody could owe the bank a bunch of money and working or retired feel comfortable. It's just not his thing. So
yeah.
I think it's really important to know you and to know what makes you happy. And not even just happy like happy, but doesn't make you lose sleep. So if debt is like the enemy to you, and somebody like me says, you really need debt, it's amazing. Don't listen to me. Like we have different strategies because we're different people.
Yes, and that's why they always say, right? Personal finance is personal for a reason because you have your different DNA, your fabric is different, mine is different. That's what it is. So, if I talk purely from a finance perspective, I would still be in debt a little bit and put in a lot more money in investing. But I'm married as well, and my wife is not very comfortable doing that. That's my 100% honest answer. And we are in pretty good communication. We talk a lot about everything under the sun. And and in the initial phases when I realized that you know there is so many things which goes into creating your personality, your backgrounds, how your parents were and how your upbringing and all of that, and I respect all of that. And so when we came together as a unit, as a team, we decided what are our good points and what are our weaknesses, what will give us sound sleep and what will not. And money is one of the most important thing where couples fight and what everything happens, a lot of things happen with money. And that's when we decided maybe debt is not a thing which we should get into, because what's the point of having all of that money if we are losing our sleep? So at that point, we decided let's not do that. We can still make a lot of money and we can still live the way we want our life to be. So let's not get into debt. So that was part of your, I think I answered that question. What was the other part? Sorry, I missed
That's
that.
okay. Well, I was making an observation. So the next question is like the logistics of it. How do you, now that you don't have a salary, don't have a job, you use your salary to set yourself free? Like you bought the first place, and I'm guessing you bought the first house, you finished the basement. That's the rental now?
No, the first house was in 2010. We sold it in 2017, bought it. It was almost 100,000 house, sold it for 200, moved out. That is done. That was long ago. This is a new place, new house, new everything. Nobody lives in this house. We it's just family of four. That's what it is.
So using the Dave Ramsey method, debt free, right? You buy the place, you pay off the debt, uh, you have your house paid off, your rental paid off, and a little over $2 million in stocks. How
Yep,
do
two.
you know how much you spend every month or should spend, or how do you like pay yourself? What does that look like?
So before pulling the trigger of retirement or fire, I knew exactly what is my monthly expenses are, and everything is based off of the monthly expense. It doesn't matter if you have $10 million or $20 million. If you are blowing $2 million a month, it's useless. So I knew what is my expenses, and once I knew that, I knew what is my expenses for 1 year, and then I knew what is my expenses going to be for 30 years, and I made sure that much is in the portfolio. And now there are two ways. When we talk about the rule of 4%, yeah, you can withdraw the 4%, but it assumes that it is sitting somewhere in a safe account. But if you're in the equity market, the S&P 500 has given 10% return. I know it's going to give me return. I'm not considering 10%. Even if it gives me 5% return, I think I'll be fine. So I did all that calculations. Then there are some Monte Carlo simulations, some tools. I fed all the information there, all my bank accounts and all of that, and then it shows you the probability of you retiring now versus in 5 years. So did all the mathematical calculations. Don't want to bring too much complication here, but I did two, three different methods to make sure that I am in safe place.
So the Monte Carlo simulation runs 1,000 iterations and says this is your percent likelihood of success and failure. Do you remember what your percent was?
It was around 90%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of people who haven't looked into that yet because, well, most of the people I know, because I don't know too many people who invest in stocks, would, you need to do it enough times and talk to enough people to figure out what is acceptable. If you're 80 or 90% versus 50%, right? Like none of those percents matter until you've looked at enough to figure out 90% to me would be a safe number.
Yeah, and a lot of things again went into that calculation as well. And I think I should add this for your audience that I made sure kids' education, if I'm going to contribute to their wedding, if I'm going to take my vacations every year, what is going to be my healthcare cost once none of us is working, each and every minute detail, I'll need a new car in 10 years. All of that went into the calculation.
All right, so two more questions
Oops,
on
I'm
stocks.
not able to hear you now.
Not hearing me? Audio's still good.
Sorry for that.
Let me know if your sound comes back on, or let me know in the chat if the sound is working because I have changed nothing here. You need to go get one of your kids to run the audio for us. So, in the comments, let me know first off, is the sound working? Second, of the people that are here, who invests in stocks and real estate?
All right, I think I'm back. I got rid of the headset and maybe it is working now. I hope it
And you can hear
works.
me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay,
Sorry.
fair
Yeah.
enough. All right. Yeah, I heard you through the whole thing. So I just think your headset battery died or something if it's a chargeable one. Uh, something that hasn't happened on your channel while you're recording videos yet?
I n- I haven't done it much yet. I don't have that experience. It's probably
Okay.
for the
Well,
first time I'm talking to someone. Yeah.
when I get back from Las Vegas next week after the BiggerPockets convention this weekend, we should do a live on your channel and we'll test the audio
Mm.
visual then and see if it works.
Yeah.
The two questions I have about stocks. The first one is your sequence of return risk. You retired last year. Right after in 2020, there was a 30% market crash. That's not a correction for stocks. And then in 2022, there was a 30% market crash or correction.
Yeah.
What would have happened to your portfolio? You said a little over 2 million if all of the sudden it was 1.2 million or 1.3 million.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. So my philosophy in investing is very simple. I am the dollar cost averaging guy. I don't care where the market is going, whether it is going up, whether it is going down. When I initially started, I started putting in 5, 10% of the salary. Later on, I started putting in 20, 25, 30% of my salary. It really did not matter to me where the market is going. And same is the philosophy when I am not working. The 3, 4%, whatever I need, it will come out of the market no matter where the market is going. I have faith in the US market that over the last 100 years, it has given 10% on an average. And even if it goes 20% down, 30% down, I'm okay with that. I'll withdraw my 2, 3% every year, and I'm pretty confident that it will sustain me for the rest of my life. So that's the philosophy I go with.
Every time I talk about stocks, I'm always really clear to tell everyone that's watching that I'm not a stock investor. Like I basically accidentally owned some stocks because of the Tesla protests. I figured they wouldn't last. That went down 70%. I bought it. It's up like 90% now. So I timed that one stock great. I'm not going to own any other stocks. I'm probably not going to buy any more Tesla after that. I did the same thing, a dollar cost average for about a month, basically, until it went back up in value. Um, Joe Kuhn talks about his buckets and he's simplified it a lot. But when he first started talking about it, he talked about having so much in cash, so much in, the different types of investing with the higher the risk, or the more stable type of investing. Do you separate yours like that? You said you have about 1 or 2% in cash. Uh, your stocks. like you're talking to a 5-year-old, me, who doesn't know anything about stocks, how would you explain how you allocate your stocks?
Okay. So first of all, I was an average student all my life. When I started tried to pick up the stock and time the market, I fell on my face. I realized this is not my cup of tea. I'm no expert. My game is consistency where I will put money every 15th of the month in the market. I knew that was my game. So if I cannot pick up the stocks, what am I supposed to do? I should go in ETFs and mutual funds. So I picked up a few ETFs and picked up a few mutual funds, and that's where I have been investing. So for right now, as I said, I'm 13% in the bonds, and then I have 74% in the stocks. I can go in details if you want. In bonds also, then there is international bonds and US bonds. And then in stock also, there is international stocks and emerging market, the US stocks. And then in alts, I have REITs, gold, commodities, and all of that. And just 1 or 2% in cash. So that has been my philosophy. And for ETFs, yeah, of course. I mean, I was in and I am in S&P 500 and the Nasdaq and total US stock market. So those are my instruments to have that exposure to equity and the US stock market and the world market.
And I should have asked this earlier in the video. So for people who want to learn like how you did this and what kind of content you're putting out, the name of your channel again?
It is Money with Swabi, SWABI. So Money with Swabi. Yeah.
Nice. I think people should check it out. Um, one more question and then the really hard question. The
Oof.
one I probably should have told you before we went live that I was going to ask you. I missed it. But so the first one, the easy one. Do you own any crypto?
I owned MicroStrategy. I was always afraid of this crypto and all that. I understand the technology, but I did not want to get exposure. So I own a little bit of IBIT and MicroStrategy, but not directly exposure to cryptos.
Okay. I always hesitate to ask that question because stocks have value based on different companies. Real estate has value based on the housing shortage, the build permits taking so long, the population trends, like all of those things. Crypto has value because other people like it. So
Yeah.
anytime I ask that question, if somebody says, I don't own any crypto, because like me, I don't own any crypto, it's not my thing. That's a physical attack against people's portfolios who own crypto. They're like, oh, if one person doesn't like it, it might lose value. That's not how it works. But that's what it seems. So anytime I even mention it, all the haters show up in the comments. Are you ready for the really hard question?
All right.
Okay. And again, I apologize for not asking this before. You can tell me pass. So if you don't want to answer the question, you just say pass and I'll move on to the next thing.
All right. Let's shoot.
You are 42?
Yeah.
Okay. Retired last year.
Yes.
Your spouse is 41
Yes.
and is not retired.
Yes. Yes.
So a day in the life of me is I usually wake up somewhere around midnight. I do something until around 4 in the morning. Then I go to sleep until maybe 7 or 8. And then I do my day. And whenever I go do my day, it's whatever I feel like that day. It could be a scuba diving thing. It could be take a trip. It could be blending a workout with an 8-hour binge of a TV series, right? Just whatever happens. How do you reconcile you have absolute time freedom in retirement, but she's still working?
Yeah, we were always on the same page when I was deciding what I want to do. Retiring early wasn't always the plan. It was just, if I may get into that, I lost my dad last year, and then I started thinking about life and that philosophy and who am I, and am I the only one with my title, 17 years corporate leadership, and this and that, and is that my only identity? And all that cycle started. That's when we both talked and we said we are there, and I have so many passions in life. I have the creative itch that I want to do something, not just singing and dancing around the trees. I have some creative itch which I want to put my energy into something. Plus this finance thing, I think I'm relatively successful. God has been kind to give me what I have. So I felt like I want to combine this thing together and create something which maybe it will be a little bit of value to other people. So that's when I decided that it is not retirement means I'm gonna just sleep and do nothing. I wanted to retire into something, and that's what I'm retired into. So I love doing this new I'm loving this new phase of my life where I'm creating content, the finance content, and that is one part. Second is I love playing pickleball with my young family, with the job, with this and that. I did not get a lot of time. Not that I retired for pickleball, but I'm getting my time now. So I pretty much that is there in my books for every day. And of course, I'm getting more time with the kids and all. So I'm enjoying my time. And she has, as I mentioned earlier, she has her number. Once she hit that particular number in terms of age, she will retire. That is the plan. We have run the numbers. We have some finance goals as well as I mean we have some finance goal tied to her salary which she want to pursue. So she's doing that. So we she's not bothered about me being free. And of course, kids are still in school. I cannot just go somewhere 5 day trip. We are still stuck with kids. My free time, and she likes me being home all the time pretty much. So yeah, it's working out so far so good.
Okay, so everyone in the chat, let me know how your relationship would go if you retired and your spouse was still working. Uh, I
I
retired
I
and
kind of get that. I know it's not easy, but touch wood, we have very good communication. We talk for hours, go for long walks, and we have talked through this thing. I know it's easier said than done, but so far no problem. And her retirement is on also on the horizon. It's not like she's gonna work 10, 15 years. And but when we talk, I'm also like retire into something. It's not just retirement for the sake of it, because what are you gonna do? You have the entire day to yourself, so it's not fun. So need to decide that, at least in this age.
Lynn has a really good point. Lynn Does Investing says the extra time that you have with those kids is like a job, right? It's very time consuming, depending on the ages too, and what they have going on. Uh,
Yes.
yeah. Last thing here, what's next for you? So you've started this, you've retired into something, you're creating content, helping other people realize you might not have to work until you die. There's another way. Let's see if there's a way for them. Let's say when she retires, I think you said it's about 4 years away, right?
Yeah.
What do you guys do next?
I will. I feel passionate about this creative side of me, so I am sure I will continue doing this. And this is a new field for me, so I'm learning a lot of new things here. And I think I would like to see myself growing here and putting more value out there. So I think that is the only thing on my cards. I am happy and I'm not looking to be happier. I'm fine where I am right now, and that's where I want to be. I'm not thinking 10, 15 years life and all, because otherwise I knew my corporate life will take me 3 years from here. It was strategically planned, this designation, this salary, and all that. I don't want to do all that. I want to relax. I just want to have a good time. Once she retires, again, we are good communicators, and let's see what she retires into. She has some planning going on, so we are in the middle of something. Hopefully few things will work out, but until then, I mean, I don't know what's there. Honestly, that's that's the truth. I mean, financially will be okay, but in terms of time, what she wants to do, it's up to her.
I actually kind of like that answer. Uh, Most people, I think, try to overstructure. This is what I'm doing in 5 years. This is what I'm doing in 10 years. This is what I'm doing. And who knows what we're going to feel like doing in 3 years or 5 years or 10 years.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if somebody wants to reach out with questions, how can they get a hold of you?
Moneywithswabi@gmail.com. They can reach out there. I am there on LinkedIn. I have started putting my finance journey there as well. Sushant Thakre, Thakare. That's my LinkedIn profile. You'll see where I have worked and all of that. You can connect me there. And of course, please follow my channel. Come there. I'm putting everything transparently, what my journey has been. I'm trying to provide that information so that if someone feels investing is complicated, I don't think so. It is a simple thing. You just have to do it seriously. And compounding was, I knew compounding is simple and I did few simple things and it just worked out. It is just takes time, takes patience. There's a saying that it takes 20 years to make money in the stock market and it takes 25 years to understand that. Fortunately, I understood that little earlier, so I didn't try to oversmart. I didn't try to act oversmart. I didn't try to beat the market. I know I cannot. I'm happy with what market gives me. I'm content.
I love it. Lynn says she would let her boyfriend retire. That's how it worked with me. I retired and Chesla was still working a year later. I just told her to retire. She had a couple of rentals and I said, I'll take care of everything. So basically I retired her. There's a question from Jack though, and I think I was gonna ask you this off camera. Tell us about the guitar behind you.
Oh man, I'm not getting much time there, but yeah, that is one of music is one of the thing which I love doing. Don't have that skills to put it on the camera yet. Uh,
That's the best time to put it on the camera. Give us a comparison.
yeah, I was playing before probably kids were born, played few songs, learned a few things. Probably, I don't know if I can play now, but it is there. It is part of me. The music remains close to my heart. That's why it is there. My mom is here now. She plays keyboard and like, let's jam, let's do something. I'm too much consumed in my new hobby of creating and personal finance, but I'll get back to that sometime. Thanks for asking them.
Nice. Well, you got a lot of free time to add to that. And Ryan, somebody said, how much were you making before you retired? Because we covered, this would be the wrap up question. When you started, you were making about 60 and you had 30,000 in student loans. You started around 2008, 2009, then you got married right after that. Um, what did your salary look like the last maybe like 5 years of work before you retired?
So it went from, we're talking 2019, maybe 130, 40. From there, it went to almost 200.
And that was yours or yours and your spouse's?
Mine.
Fine,
It was
yours.
mine. Yeah.
So you climbed the corporate ladder.
Yes.
You use that money to put money to work so that you don't have to. And that's, I relate it to real estate the same way where I hear people often say, I want to quit my job and get into real estate. Imagine if you tried to quit your job and get into stocks. It's basically the same. You need the job to put the money to work so that you don't have to. There are ways to work in real estate that are jobs, but now you're just using that job. Um,
Yeah. No, I believe in one thing that work on your active job actively. Don't try to do your passive things actively, like for me, stocks. I see a lot of folks, and of course, it might work out for you, not saying it cannot, but I feel like we don't have to put that much time actively trying to beat the market. The market is taking care of itself. You worry about your job, get your 2 3 5% raises, switch jobs or get promotions, get that 10 15 percent raises where not the raise. If you change it then you'll get it, but you are the expert there. Try to put more time and energy there, grow there, and here put in more money, because if you honestly, if you just put in 1 or 2% of your salary, it's not going to take you anywhere. Get that confidence, make small mistakes, and once you're there, then put in more chunk in the market, because the market, I mean, you need that confidence to put in a bigger chunk. And how do you get it? By investing more, and earlier on is better. So start early, as fast as early as you can. That would be my, yeah, not advice, but that's what worked for me.
I totally agree. I interviewed Cody Davis when he was 20. So he wasn't old enough to go into a bar yet. And he had 30 rental properties. And he said, I really wish I started sooner. Like, I don't think that there's any point in time where we don't think I should have started sooner. And a lot of people look at their job like a prison and they're trying to invest to get out of prison. And most people don't realize that your job is the key to let you out of prison.
Yep, 100% with you. Yeah.
And that ended on YouTube there. So we just ended on that note.
All right.
So cool. You have done